So, rare Saturday stream. We ain't got nothing too crazy to talk about today, but we got a couple things. First, one of those couple of things is Phil Spencer addressing the lack of PS5 Pro equivalent for Xbox. And honestly speaking, I don't really think there needs to be one, because the Xbox, I'm not saying that the Xbox is some space age technology that's equivalent to like a 5080 or whatever the latest graphics card is, but Xbox is still pretty good at running games. Xbox never had a reputation like PlayStation, where their consoles was trying to run out the room and heat your room up anytime you start them up 3-4 years into the gaming life cycle. So I don't really think there needs to be one, but I don't know. Maybe there's something he says that's gonna change my perspective, or make me go, that's a terrible explanation. Microsoft Gaming head Phil Spencer says that more. Also, that's weird. Why is it only some of their articles have key takeaways and not all of them? I feel like all of their articles should have key takeaways. Anyway, Microsoft Gaming head Phil Spencer says that more Xbox consoles are on the way, despite the company's ongoing multi-platform strategy. You know what I find weird? I find weird that this man has to say so hard, like, hey, guys, I swear to God, guys, we're going to make more Xboxes. We're going to make more Xboxes. We're going to make more Xboxes. I feel like he's saying it so much because he's trying to convince himself and not us. We're not convinced. Until we see it, y'all trying to Sega yourselves. Spencer explained that he couldn't justify releasing a mid-generation console like the PS5 Pro, as many improvements made would be minimal and wouldn't justify the cost. Which is true, because if you look at the spec sheet for the PS5 Pro, it's better than a PS5, but it's not as good as it should be for a Pro Leap, or for what you would think a Pro Leap should be in terms of the improvements. Like, they say all these pretty rounded up marketing numbers, like, oh, it has 40% better performance in the blah 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 category, but when you actually go into like the technical breakdown, it's like, it's been 5 years and y'all had this small of a jump. It ain't worth the upgrade if you already got one. Xbox is currently working on a handheld console. All right, yeah, we know that. Let's see if we could get any quotes. Oh, it's one right here. Yeah, this is Spencer. Spencer said it's less like the old days, going from the original Xbox to 360. That was standard definition to high definition. True, at the time that was an extremely huge jump. Now it's harder to show the benefits. We're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles, which is true. Let's see. Release November 7th. And Spencer has confirmed that a handheld Xbox console. Okay, so it's a bunch of yappage. Yeah, and that's why I like these cliff notes, because it saves a lot of time. Sometimes you ain't got time to read the whole article, and sometimes the article is mostly a headline. But an article that I don't hope is mostly a headline, because I feel like I could get a lot of conversation and a lot of my Shadow of the Erdtree hate out on this. In an expansion heavy time for Xbox, Phil Spencer says he doesn't like, quote, expansions that are manipulative. Which, to be fair, I may not like Shadow of the Erdtree. I may have a deep-rooted hatred towards Elden Ring, but the expansion for that game isn't manipulative. They do give you a lot to offer and something worthy of calling an expansion. I don't want it to be like the third level that you cut. I just sneeze real quick. The Last of Us Part 2 removed levels. Oh, God. Oh, man. I miss when games used to only release when they were finished. Here's the first, second, third. Wait, unless there's a quote. No, third. Matching Toledo, I don't know how to pronounce that. Matching Big Bro's comments on 2024 closes like Starfield Shattered Space and Diablo 4 DLC Vessel of Hatred, Spencer notes that the former added a bespoke setting and story, while the latter introduced a famously overpowered new class. Significant additions like these, it seems, help make an expansion well expansive in Spencer's view. So he's basically saying he wants expansions to add new functions and features to a game, and basically not be an expansion in name only. He wants it to actually add something to the game. He wants it to not, like, okay, I understand what he's saying with that little quote in the headline. But wait, hold up. Do I have my filter on for my music? Okay, the level's right. Equalizer. Okay, yeah, everything's right. But But he's saying he doesn't want expansions to just add more levels or something like that. He wants them to introduce new mechanics and new ideas that weren't in the game before, that weren't thought of in the original development time, but that they have room and space to develop for now that the game is out and that the game has some money. So now they could push that money forward to pay the developers to work on something new so that you actually have something good to play. Hey, we need more CEOs thinking like this. Now, from my understanding, he is the end all be all, but he can't be in every studio at once. So he can't be looking down everybody's shoulder, you know, penis on the shoulder, looking over at the computer screen and going, nah, change that detail right there. Oh, that line of code, delete that, put it in differently. Like, he can't be over everybody's shoulder, but he can do things like this that like strongly lead the people under him to go in a specific directions, which if they don't go into those specific directions, and not specific in terms of I want you to do exactly this, specific as in as long as you meet this quality threshold. I don't care how you meet the quality threshold. Why did my joint just spike out of nowhere? Wait, hold on, one second. Okay, my fault. Let the crash go down. All right, cool. So like I was saying, basically what he's saying is the quality threshold is here. I don't care if you get to the quality threshold by doing like this, by doing like this, by doing like this. As long as you meet this quality threshold, this is the minimum. As long as you get here, I don't care how, we cool. If you want to go above the quality threshold, all you have to do is this. But if you want to do this, that's cool. I respect that. I don't like expansions that are minute. And one thing I also want y'all to keep in mind is I may have my problems with what Phil Spencer does and says from time to time, but Phil Spencer is like one on the better side of people who are in charge of large gaming studios and stuff like this. Large studios and stuff like this, for the simple fact that he's actually a gamer himself first. Like, a lot of these CEOs that are in high positions in a lot of these companies are just people who know how money works and go, hey, whip crack. When I finish cracking these whips and you drop this software, I better get... My fault. But like I was saying, a lot of these other CEOs in these positions, all they know is whip crack. Yeah, when I finish cracking this whip and you drop this product, it better make me $100 quintillion. And then they get confused when they finish cracking the whip on people who ain't have time to really implement or do anything in a way that actually like produces quality, and they just fire everybody and make everybody under them suffer, because, you know, shit rolls down the hill. If you're on the bottom, you're gonna get shitted on. You don't have space to move out the way. You're at the bottom of the hill. You move to the side, the shit's coming to the bottom of the hill anyway. It's still gonna hit you. Now you may be able to step over so you get less splash, but to me, you getting splashed with shit, it's still getting hit with shit, whether it's direct on or splash, metaphorically speaking, of course. Anyway, point is, Phil Spencer is on the better side because he's actually a gamer first, so he knows what it takes. But he's also a CEO. So despite him knowing what it takes, he also has to hold people to a certain standard, because it's like, look, I could give y'all as much breathing room and as much space as I want. And I want to give y'all a lot of breathing room and I want to give y'all a lot of space. But it comes to a point. It gets to a point, dude. It gets to a point. I don't want it to be like the third level that you cut before you launch, because that does, for those of y'all who are unaware, that does happen. Sometimes, like, game developers, they'll make a game and they'll have a level or two that they won't be able to finish in time for their deadline, so they'll just cut it out of the game and just not include it in the game and be like, hey, we don't have time to finish it, we don't have time to implement it properly, so we won't implement it at all. Spencer points to Shattered Space and Shattered Space. Wait, what the fuck was Shattered Space? Because that sounds familiar. Search. Shattered space. What the fuck was it? Oh, Starfield. Shitfield. Spencer points to shattered space and conversations he had with I accidentally just touched my eye trying to. Y'all ever had that feeling where y'all accidentally touch your eye, like y'all reaching for your hair or something like that to brush your wonderful luscious locks that don't look half as good as mine out of your face, and then you accidentally touch your raw eyeball? Like, bro, that made me want to walk around with an eye patch and a peg leg. Anyway, Spencer points to shattered space and conversations he had with Bethesda boss Todd Howard, who apparently wondered if the team should have waited to put buggies out. Why? In a game with 100 desolate planets, you wonder if you should have waited longer to put what the whole fan base was screaming was a necessary feature. Because, like I always say, the thing I love about Bethesda games is lore. It has never been Bethesda gameplay. Bethesda gameplay, especially, God forbid, Bethesda gameplay on launch, is like generally some of the worst gameplay I've ever seen, like, ever. Their games are always buggy. They don't work. It's like for those of y'all who remember it, y'all remember Assassin's Creed Unity? Oh, no, that's not a good example. Because Cyberpunk functionally didn't work. Bethesda games, they work, but just barely. Y'all remember how Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Syndicate launch? If you're that old, or if you need a more recent example, imagine Cyberpunk if you had a good PC where most of the glitches were like goofy glitches where a car would just fly in the sky for no reason and you get a crash every once in a while. That's how Bethesda games work. Because I remember Bethesda games, bro. Bethesda games, if you wanted to change settings, you had to go into a notepad, like note, and edit it in plain text. Like Bethesda games are really held together with spit, glue, and duct tape with the freaking with the adhesive a little bit used. Spencer points to let me keep going though, because like they have a long-standing history of this, but the good thing about their games would be the lore. Starfield, I looked at the synopsis for the lore, and like the Starfield lore, it just made me go I don't care. I looked at Starfield lore and I was like, I genuinely just don't care. This is not even interesting. So no part of Starfield really appeals to me. And that's saying something. As me, I'm not a Bethesda fan, but I'm a big fan of Fallout. So I thought Starfield, being that it was supposed to be Fallout in space, was gonna be cooler than it was. But then it came out and I looked at it and I was like, it's a Bethesda game, so I know not to buy it day one. I'm not gonna play it at all, even if I do like the game. Hopefully the lore's good. The lore's not good. I've watched the summary. That shit is so boring. Like I've never been more bored during a 3-minute summary a day in my life. Given the common criticism that Shattered Space didn't have enough new features, instead buggies dropped just before the expansion in a free update. Why didn't it drop with the game? And then like not in a free update, why didn't it just drop with the game? Maybe saving everything for one big go would better excite players, Spencer seems to ponder. No, maybe dropping critical features when the fucking game drops is what excites people. Like, alright, for those of you who don't understand RPGs too well and don't understand why vehicles were such an important critical feature, imagine if you played a fighting game, but there was no fast jab. So you know how like in Street Fighter, there's light punch, that's the like fastest punch. There's medium punch, where it's not really the heavy punch where it's slow and strong, but it's not as fast as a fast punch. So there's light punch, there's medium punch, there's heavy punch. And the same thing with the kicks, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. Not having the buggies, not having a mount, which is the general term for any mode of transportation that speeds up you getting from place to place without walking, that isn't fast travel, in a role-playing game, aka RPG. That is like playing a fighting game with no light jab button. How the fuck do you start combos? How do you get yourself out of combo breaker situations where you need a 3-frame move to break out of a combo when somebody is using a move that has 5 frames of startup after coming off of 2 frames of cooldown? Which, to my FGC brain, that makes... Actually, you know what? Here's a better example, because I know the average person doesn't play fighting games as much as I do, so I may need a different example. Imagine playing basketball, but you can't lay up. Like, imagine playing 2K, but you can't lay up. You can't lay up. You could drive to the paint, but you have to shoot. You can't lay up at all. You mechanically can't lay up. The feature's not in the game. The feature's not in the game. So for the first 4 months of 2K, you can't lay up. You got to play a game for 4 months with no layup. A basketball game for 4 months with no layup. You could shoot threes. You could shoot twos. You could dunk. But you can't lay up. One of the critical, vital types of ways to get points in a basketball game. A fucking layup. You can't do that. You can't. You just can't. Everything has to be a shot. You and I don't mean you mechanically can't lay up as in you try and throw the layup and like the game just doesn't let it go in, or it has a very small. No, I mean like the feature's not there, period. Like no character has a layup animation. There is no when you get close to the rim and you press shoot the ball, like a character doesn't go into a layup animation properly because the game doesn't work. No, like it's not in the game at all. There is no layup function in the game at all in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. That's what it's like to play an RPG with no mount. It's like, yeah, I could still score points. Yeah, I could back up and go to the three, but what if I don't want to do that? What if I like to drive in the paint and lay up? What if I'm playing like a more of a big man character that's shitty at shooting, but because they big as shit, they could push people out the way and get to the hoop. Because I know you dumbass niggas think I know nothing about sports. I'm just not a sports expert. I know how basketball works. Anyway, that's what it's like to not have a mount in the game. This is a critical feature for the fucking game that you dropped without it being in the game. So everybody had to walk around all these desolate ass planets. And one thing I learned about video game critiques is if everybody has the same critique and the same critique that they have is based off of a factual statement, you just got to take it at face value at that point. Because it's like, yo, if everybody's saying the same thing and none of them are lying, shit gotta be true in some way, shape, or form. Like I always say, if unrelated groups of people are all telling you the same thing, that means they either have the same misconception or what they're saying is true and you're just in denial. And in this case, them niggas was in denial for a little minute. Given the common criticism that Shattered Space didn't have enough new features. Instead, buggies dropped just before. We're always learning, Spencer says. Todd and I were talking about Shattered Space. Starfield is a game I put a ton of hours into and really, yeah, he really loves the game. Okay, cool. Yeah, I agree. I really agree with what he's saying. What he's saying is he thought Bethesda met the quality standard. He thought they was good. He thought that they was going to meet that quality threshold that he set up. Because like I said, remember, Phil Spencer, unlike a lot of these other CEOs, Ubisoft, is an actual gamer in charge of a gaming company. So he has a passion, and fuck the passion. He has an understanding of the field in a way that it works. Because like to be fair and transparent, you don't have to be passionate to run a business. You just have to understand how the business works. For example, you don't have to be passionate about swiping items across a damn scan meter thing for people at Walmart to manage 100 people working cash registers. You don't. You just have to know how it works. Now, if you have a passion for it, that's always a bonus. I'm not going to knock that. I don't know anybody who has that passion, but if you do, I'm not going to knock that. Same thing with this scenario. He doesn't even have to care. He does care, but he doesn't even have to care. But at the end of the day, he's also in charge of a business. And whenever you're in a leadership position such as this, sometimes, even if it's not your fault, it is your fault. And you got to say, you know what? My bad, dog. I got to make sure that don't happen again. And you got to put preventions and steps and systems in place so shit like this doesn't happen again. Because there's no reason a Bethesda game should release and modders that are dedicated to modding Bethesda games basically go, I don't want to do it. I'm going to go back to modding this game that came out in 2015. Excuse me, versus modding this new game with new potential and new things to discover. That just doesn't make any sense, man. So I don't give a fuck about Starfield, but I hope you Starfield fans get something fire out of this. But something that Call of Duty players do not get that's fire, which by the way. Can y'all see it? It's upside down. Ooh, look, I just got, and look, I ain't even open this bitch, look. Wait, hold on. Let me put my mic close. Let me pause the music too so y'all can really hear it, so y'all know. Look. I did it. I cracked. I brought a Call of Duty game, okay? It's been a very long time now. Omni movement shit looked cool as hell. Alright, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try and jump off a building and do a 360 no scope with a baseball bat with a fucking laser beam attached to it. Anyway, speaking of Call of Duty, we got the greatest dance from the greatest dancer ever in there. Yo, why is that low key on beat? Why is she low key on beat with it? With that terrible ass. And she wearing all green too. She really must be a fan of D-Thing. Yo, I just wanted to show this because I thought this was funny as hell that they put this in. Also, just to reiterate, the same thing I said during when it first happened. No, she is not the reason why it won't be in the LA Olympics in 2028. Shut the fuck up and read. Go use Google for 10 seconds. But something that I don't have to use Google for 10 seconds to figure out is why, according to this animal, the Blockbuster Games bubble has bust. Why didn't I have to use Google? Wait, how long is this article? Because this might be something I'll read in for. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna read like a little bit of it and I'm gonna skim through it, but I'm gonna fully read it later because I ain't reading all this shit on stream. Yeah, I ain't reading all this shit on stream. That's a lot. But one thing I've been saying about a lot of these AAA games, and I've been saying this since last year, it's crazy that, and no, actually I've been saying this way before last year because I started saying it in this way when Slippy came out for Melee, but I've been saying it way before then. I was always like, yo, why is it that one random dude in his basement can develop something better than a team of people who went to school? A team of people who went to school. So even if the theoretical one dude in his basement that I'm talking about did go to school for it, a team of people, 20, 30, 50, 60, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people who went to school for this subject, overruled by one person or overruled by a couple people. Why are those teams of 10,000, 30,000 people and a company that's been around, companies that's been around for decades and decades and decades upon decades, why are these companies getting outdeveloped by random people in their basement? You want to know what for a large part of the year was outselling Call of Duty? This game, the last game in this franchise that came out last year. You want to know what game was outselling it? Lethal Company, an indie game, was outselling Call of Duty last year. Let's see how many people worked on Lethal Company. How many devs work on Lethal Company? One person. Y'all think I'm joking? One person made this game. One person. And look, it was up there with Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield as one of the best-selling Steam games of 2023. Now, Baldur's Gate 3, even though I don't like it, I recognize that it's a quality game. It's just not for me. Baldur's Gate 3 Steam sales 2023. They made over 600 million. They made over $650 million in 2023. And this was a game made by like a large legacy gaming studio with a franchise that has had multiple entries, both mainline and non-mainline entries. So Baldur's Gate is a game that comes from a very deep history. There's a lot of entries in that series, a lot of expansions, stuff like that. This series has a very deep history. This nigga was making numbers up there with Baldur's Gate. One person. Now, in this scenario, he didn't necessarily outdevelop Baldur's Gate, but a quality game was outselling Call of Duty. Let me remind y'all, Call of Duty is one of the best-selling game franchises in all history. It's up there with Mario, bro. It's up there with, well, actually, Minecraft is not a franchise, but it's up there with Mario. Matter of fact, I don't even gotta talk. Let's Google it. What are the best? No, yo, real talk. Talking while I type is helping me like type faster. List of best-selling video game franchises. There we go. At least 250 million. Mario. Call of Duty. Look, I just looked it up right now. First thing that pops up, Mario. Second thing, Call of Duty. Tetris, a game that's been around for fucking ever. Pokemon, a game that's been around forever. Grand Theft Auto, a game that's been around forever. I don't count Minecraft because there's technically only one Minecraft. You know what? Technically, it's more than one Minecraft game because of like the story mode and all that, even though that's not the bulk of its sales, but you can make that. FIFA. Wii, because of the Wii series, like Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, all of those. Lego. So, the second best video game franchise, according to Wikipedia, the second best video game franchise of all time that has a lifetime sales across all their entries of 500 million. 500 million. This is a titan in the industry. The second biggest selling video game franchise of all time according to this list. It's up there with Tetris, Pokemon, Grand Theft Auto, Minecraft, FIFA, Wii, Lego, The Sims, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, Sonic, Resident Evil, Legend of Zelda. The only thing that outsells Call of Duty is supposed to be Mario. And a game made by one person outsold them. If that ain't the most back against the wall American dream head ass story ever, this nigga was a millionaire off of a game he developed by himself. Let's see how many years did it take to make this game. How many years did it take to make? How long does Lethal Company take? No, that story. I can't find that. But let me see if I can find the budget. How much did it cost? I didn't get the AKE. Much did it cost to make Lethal Company? 52 million. For context, taxes is truly altering. No, that's not concrete numbers. So, actually, here we go. How much did it cost to make Lethal Company? The fuck isn't publicly disclosed, but given it, that's somebody pulling numbers out their ass. Anyway, yeah, my point is still proven though. An indie game made by one person with shitty graphics, terrible support, like in terms of for controllers, terrible peripheral support, no accessibility features to my knowledge. I wouldn't know. I've never booted up the fucking game because every time I ask people to play, all of a sudden niggas got shit to do. But when I actually got shit to do, everybody is fucking free. Whatever. Anyway, point is, this game outsold, that game outsold Call of Duty. And that's not an outlier. That's something that's becoming more and more common. Even though this happened a while ago, there's always been Undertales of the world. There's always been a Castle Crashers. A game that was made to run for like one device started being run on everything. It's, when you really think about it, it is crazy how these games made by one person on the side after they come home from their grueling job working as a fucking cashier, got people cursing you out, pulling guns on you, fucking trying to throw boxes at you, yelling at you because they broke and they don't want to pay the price that the store set that you have nothing to do with. Probably came home every day from one of those type of jobs, and on the side, instead of going to sleep, he cracked his back, he did his arms like this, he got in front of his keyboard and he started typing. And he made this game by himself. One man deep, shitty graphics. A lot of these companies need to sit down and really analyze why stuff like this, stuff like what happened with that, why it works out, why does it happen the way it does. Because y'all think that if y'all just pump us out slop with the same name written on it, that we'll accept it. You have some people that's just so loyal to a franchise, they don't care how much it dips in quality, they're gonna buy it. Yeah, sure, that's what happens when you have a core fan base, but the type of numbers y'all want don't allow for that type of strategy to be the strategy that y'all go forth with. Pumping out slop and hoping that people part of the core fan base accept it and just dick ride it anyway. And then give you time to fix it after the game dropped. No, stop dropping broken games. When Lethal Company dropped, that game wasn't broken. When Lethal Company dropped, that game was optimized. It ran on everybody's computer. When Lethal Company dropped, it was a reasonable price. That's another thing that I think be gating a lot of these games. A lot of these games be charging $70, bro. Be charging $70 and you don't have it like that. Like Call of Duty. Is this game worth $70? I don't know. I haven't opened it yet. But let's just say it is for hypothetical purposes. $70. People will pay $70 for Call of Duty because there are a lot of people blindly loyal to Call of Duty. But a lot of these studios are coming out with new franchises and stuff like this, and then they're shrugging their shoulders going, why are people mad that we added DRM into the game, and why are people pirating the game? Why are people pirating the game? Because some of you motherfuckers got games that's too expensive. That's why this new game that's coming out, I don't think it's the first game made by this studio. Let me see, Expedition 33. Expedition 33 Studio, STU. Because I want to see if this studio has made any other game. Sandfall Interactive, is that who it is? Yeah, Expedition 33. So Sandfall, let me see. Sandfall Interactive, copy. Let's see if they made any other game. Oh, what the fuck? So is this their first game? That's even better if this is their first game, cause I see like home team jobs and all that. I don't see nothing about no other previous games. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I guess this is their first game, and being that this is their first game, let me show you how much this game costs. This game that, by the way, this is not only apparently their first game, but this is the first game that they've ever released. It doesn't have anything to do with previously existing franchise. So it's a new franchise. It's a new IP with no ground. Again, new studio that nobody knows of. Nobody's ever heard of.
Do you know?
Look at what the price is supposed to be on launch. Wait. Oh, damn. It doesn't show it on Steam. How much will cost? $50. This game is costing $50. A new game in a franchise that nobody heard of costs $50. A lot more game developers need to do this too. A lot. Because a lot of the time they be charging $70 for some bullshit. And it be having names slapped on it. And like I always say, one of the biggest problems with Ubisoft, I know I'm spitting on their grave a lot and I'm spitting on their body a lot, but them niggas deserve it. One problem that I have with a lot of Ubisoft games, especially like currently now, modernly, is that a lot of their games feel like games that shouldn't be an Assassin's Creed game, that they were too scared that they wouldn't make money if they didn't slap the Assassin's Creed game on it. Like I've been saying this since the game came out. Call of Duty Black Flag is not a bad Assassin's Creed game. I mean, Call of Duty Black Flag is not a bad game. It's a bad Assassin's Creed game. What else? Valhalla, not a bad game. Bad Fallout game. Well, what's another game? I had another one in my head. But you get my point though. With like Valhalla, Black Flag, and Far Cry Primal. Far Cry Primal wasn't a bad game. They shouldn't have slapped the Far Cry name on it because it had nothing to do with the main line. A, and B, it was a completely different type of game. Like a regular Far Cry, you fight tigers and shit like that, but nigga, you got a rifle. You got a fucking Bushmaster. Using a Bushmaster to fight a tiger is not the same as having to run around and do this with a spear. No, it's not. There's not even crossbows. Ain't nothing with a trigger in Far Cry Primal. What the fuck did that game have to do with Far Cry? That game was supposed to be about taking over dictatorships. In this game, you're bonking damn freaking not penguins. What's a tropical animal? You're bonking mountain lions and minks over the head with a damn club. It's a completely different concept game-wise. Should have been a new game franchise that just had familiar, fun mechanics game-wise. Maybe add some unique stuff that only could be achieved in this setting or only makes sense in this setting, which is what they did, and call it and make it a whole new game. But instead they slapped the Far Cry name on it, and Far Cry fans was like, what the fuck is this? People who weren't a fan of Far Cry but would be a fan of the gameplay was like, what the fuck is this? So they alienated themselves, and I don't want to say that game flopped, but they put that game in a category where it had no chance of winning because they were too scared of making a new game. That shit was a new game. All they had to do was erase the Far Cry title off of it and just call it something else. Like maybe just call it Primal or something like that, or call it Primal Instincts of the Wild or Instinct, like add something to make it unique. But that shit should have been its own unique game. Instead, guess what? Another fucking Far Cry game. So you know what people did? They shrugged it off and called it ass. I played it. I liked it. I think it was good. I never beat it because I said if that shit drops one frame on my fucking Xbox, I'm cutting this shit off and I'm not beating it, and it did drop one frame. But of what I did play, because I played like 60 to 70% of the game, shit was fire. Nobody played it. The video game industry currently throws in a paradox. For players, it could be argued we're in one of the greatest times for gaming. Yes, it is. If you're not one of those people that just look at Call of Duty, well, this year Call of Duty is good, but if you're not one of those people that just play Call of Duty and Fortnite all day, then yeah, game is pretty good. But if you're one of those people that only look at Call of Duty and Fortnite and you're tired of how you've been playing the same game for the last 8 years and you're just jumping around, gaming is dead, gaming is dead, gaming is dead. If you're not one of those people, yeah, gaming is great when you actually play games. Like, look, just on my shelf right here for my PlayStation. These are just the 3 games I got right now on my shelf for my PlayStation. This is not despite all the games I got in my Steam library, all the games I got in my Epic library. This is despite all those games. This is despite all the indie games and stuff that I played. These are 3 AAA bangers that came out in a year, and I don't even play like every single kind of game there is. We're not even talking about fighting. This is just FPS and one platformer. We're not even talking about fighting games. We're not even talking about RPGs. We're not even talking about puzzle games. We're not even talking about card games. Ballotaro dropped this year. That was a freaking banger. Marvel Snap dropped late last year, basically early this year. That's a freaking banger. The Pokemon TCG game, even though I don't like it, Pokemon fans fucking love it. The Yu-Gi-Oh game, I heard like either got a new entry or a massive update to one of the older ones this year that, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh fans is loving. So it's like, yo, every type of game genre this year is winning. We got bangers, and not just in the AAA and the indie games too. So yes, it is a great year for gaming. It is a fantastic year for gaming. Oh damn, how low key wanted to hear that instrumental? Wait, hold on, let me run it back so I can hear it while I talk. So yeah, it's been a great year for gaming. Great year for gaming. Anybody who's saying otherwise, what games you played this year? Call of Duty, Fortnite. What else, nigga? Oh, that's it. Exactly. That's why you saying that. Play a different game. Fuck, nigga. Also, I just realized you started a sentence off with 4. Journalists, please stop doing this. That's not how the English language works. Made ever more acceptable. Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. It's another reason why it's a great year for gaming. You could buy something like the Xbox Game Pass and have access to like 100 games, not sponsored, and have access to like 100 games at once. You can only play but so many games a year, but if you play like 10 of those games, because nowadays games don't even come with demos. So if you play like 10 of those games just to demo it out and see if you want to like the game or not, you get value from the Game Pass. What in a pass, you have to either go off of gameplay visuals and hope and buy the game blindly and hope it's good. Now you can get access to the full game and beat the full game for no additional price. What? This is a great time to be a gamer. It is so many ways to be fiscally responsible and still play the latest and greatest games. What? Niggas bugging. Niggas bugging. This is a great time to be a gamer. If you're tired of playing Call of Duty and Fortnite, and that's all you play, zip your lips, nigga. Only game you played this year that didn't have a gun in it was Wukong, which I don't like Wukong, but plenty of people like that game, so zip your fucking lips. Oh, what games you played this year besides the typical Wukong? Shut the fuck up. Oh, Sparky Zero, shut your dumb ass up. I played that game in 2004. The fuck out of here. And I watched the series in 2004. Shut your ass up. Shut your ass on, boy. But from an industry perspective, things could not be more dire. More and more studios seem to be closing. Original IPs are being scrapped mid-development, and vast legions of game developers, programmers, artists, and animators have been cut loose. I've already explained that 100 times, but I said one of the biggest reasons why a lot of these studios are firing their employees is because in the tech sector in general, not just gaming, but also gaming, the Corbin Blue 19 times, a lot of these companies grossly overhired. Across the past 2 years, over 20,000 jobs, but while 6 staggering. What's worse, this trend shows no signs of continuing rather than diminishing. Yeah, how did we get here? Some analysts have conducted closures and redundant. Okay, we'll skip that. Just 5 years ago, AAA projects' average budget was around 50 to 100 million. Right now, the minimum average is 200 million. Now, I'm not a pocket watcher and I'm not a financial expert, but I guarantee you it didn't take $100 million to make Lethal Company. Now let's go back to the numbers. I actually didn't look this one up. How much did it cost? How much did Lethal Company make? Because it's hundreds of millions. Because if they're up there with Baldur's Gate, it's hundreds of millions. So how much money did Lethal Company make? It made more than 100 million. That's not an exact number. Lethal Company has sold an estimated 10 million copies. So how much does Lethal Company cost? How much does Lethal? And then this is not counting the fact that it's their sales. It costs $10. It costs $10. So 10 times 10 million. I don't feel like typing all them damn zeros. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 100 million. And then let's, for shits and giggles, divide 100 million by no. 100 million divided by 5. Let's say he only collected a fifth of that money. That's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's still 7 zeros, 20 million. 20 million. If the nigga made 20 million off the game, he dropped this game and last year instantly became a millionaire. Now, I'm not trying to say he instantly became a millionaire, like it was easy to discredit his work or nothing like that. What I'm trying to say is like, yo, these companies would love to make 20 million, 100 million off of a game. But you know, let's keep making the same fucking game over and over, or let's make a different game but call it the same thing as another game that is nothing like, because we're so scared to make a new fucking game. Make something new. We're tired of seeing the same shit over and over. Or let's make a game and then stuff it full of microtransactions that nobody wants to buy. It's far from just Call of Duty facing ballooning costs. Yeah, Call of Duty is getting more and more ballooning costs, and the people who like playing the story of Call of Duty are suffering the hardest because they're deprioritizing that shit more and more year by year. It's far from just Call of Duty, blah, blah, blah. In the same CMA report, an anonymous publisher admits that development costs for one of his franchises reached over 600 million, with 550 million of marketing costs on top of that. That's a $1 billion game. To put that in perspective, Minecraft, the world's best-selling game of all time that came out of all time, has of last year only achieved $3 billion in sales, and it took 12 years. So think about that. This game has been out for 12 years and made $3 billion. They're spending $1 billion, like marketing included, on a game that hasn't come out and expecting to make that type of money in a year off of a game that took years to build up its reputation to the point to where $1 billion was even feasible. $1 million was even feasible. $100 million was even feasible. They're dropping these type of numbers. They're dropping these type of numbers on one of the highest, as y'all saw earlier, that's one of the highest selling game franchises of all time. Of all time. And they're spending those type of numbers on a game that ain't even come out yet, hoping that they get those type of sales. They're overspending and wonder why their games are underperforming. I mean, like if you've ever been curious, why is it that Square Enix keep making games that why is my shit just dropping and going up and down out of nowhere? If you've ever been curious, why is it that Square Enix is dropping games that's selling 4 and 5 million copies, and they're saying this is below our expectations, that in a month we only sold 4 million copies? This is why. They be spending $1 billion on a damn game, and then what's 4 million times 70? Because not all those people are buying those games for full price, because there's stuff like what is it, Great Man Gaming or something like that, where people playing on PC could get the game on discount. So what is it, $70? So 70 times 4 MILL, I win. So that's 1 2 3 1 2 3. So that's million. So that's 200 million. They spending more. They spend, like he said, on average they spending more than 200 million to make the damn game, and in a month they not even making back their money. As a business, it's like, yo, y'all feel that? Oh, that's the soreness, that's the pain in my pockets. They damn near going negative making these games, and they need money to make the next game in the series so that they could get even more money. But guess what? When you start the development of a new game, or even if you continue the development of a game that's already out, it costs money to do that. So now you spent $1 billion on this game, made 200 million, and now you about to spend 200 million making an expansion or DLC updates or balance patches and fixes. It gets expensive, and they're spending more money than they're making. Business 101. If you ever start spending more money than you're making, you gotta stop spending, or you gotta start making more. We'll read this next section if it's not too long. Yeah, I'll read the headlines, and I'll go off of those, and I may skim through the paragraphs to see if there's a quote in there too, because like I said, this shit is long as fuck. Where was it? The current AAA, skip to the next one, please. Thank you. The current AAA publishing cull, what the fuck does that mean? Search.
Cull.
Okay, I did say it right. Select from a large quantity, obtain. Okay, so the cream of the crop, I think. The current AAA cream of the crop reflects a deep-rooted fear to engage with anything new and original. And that's the problem. They scared to do anything new, but niggas want to see something new. It's like the market is demanding one thing, and you're saying we don't want to fulfill your demand because we're scared we'll go broke. But what they're telling you is your fear to do that is why you're going broke. It's like we're screaming into a void and they just don't get it. Like, yeah, we're telling you why you're going broke. Your ass don't want to listen. That's on you. I see Concord. I'm good. If everything is bigger and bolder, who possibly has the time to play more than 1 or 2 games each year? It's also another thing that a lot of these companies don't take into account. Because one thing I always say about like these live service games and all these games is that it seems like a lot of these companies are still working off of this old mindset that only kids with parents that are buying them every single game they ask for and that they want are playing games, and they're all dropping their games at the same time. And it's like, yo, some of y'all need to drop y'all games in the summer. Some of y'all need to drop more games in the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year. Because like when you drop your game alongside a lot of other AAA games, like for example, like I said, Concord wouldn't be dead right now, wouldn't be in the Museum of Failures if it would have released during the summer. Because think about it, Concord came out about a month before Space Marines and Call of Duty, 2 of the biggest first-person shooter games to release this year. If you gave a nigga a choice to choose between Overwatch Destiny or Destiny Overwatch Edition, Overwatch Destiny Edition, whatever one you want to call it. You gave them the choice to choose between that. Space Marines, a game that to everybody is mostly a cool new take on a first-person shooter, on a third-person shooting games. I said first-person shooter genre. I mean to say shooter genre, but you get what I mean. Something that is a new take on the FPS, on the shooting game genre, where not only is it a third-person shooter, it gives you a feeling of being a big, powerful, brooding machine that's connected to a universe that has a very, 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 very deep community with very, 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 very deep lore. A community that's very large and very welcoming, despite it being niche. It's one of those niches that are only niche when you look at it from the outside. Once you get inside of it, you go, oh, this fandom is big and strong. Like, if Warhammer was to make a Warhammer convention, that shit would do like DreamCon, Comic-Con, New York type numbers. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, people love Warhammer that much. But when you're outside the fandom, it looks like a bunch of nerds in the corner when really they all around the room. It's just that collection is in that corner. But over there on the left side of the room, it's a couple Warhammer fans. They're just not talking about Warhammer right now. Over here, some Warhammer fans. Over here. Warhammer is one of those type of fandom. So, a game with a very large, strong, and passionate fandom. Very large, strong, passionate, welcoming fandom that are willing to catch you up on like 30 years of lore. And I'm not talking about 30 years of lore as in the lore spans across 30 years. No, people have been making thousands of years worth of lore over the past 30 years. Like, just imagine that every year since Warhammer has, like, the original OG one came out, people have added another 1,000 years to the lore. That's 30,000 years worth of lore that people are willing to tell you, and that is being currently expanded upon. And as every year passes, that's more and more people who actually play games. That sounds cool. That sounds fire. More people want to play Space Marines versus Call of Duty. Like I was mentioning earlier, one of the best-selling franchises of all time. The game that comes out yearly and tops the charts. Yearly. Every year for like the past 10 years, when this game came out, it's been at the top of the charts for one of the best-selling games of the year. Every year, consistently. Top 10 consistently. And numbers for what are the top highest played games for each month, Call of Duty is consistently in the top 10 every month, all 12 months of the year for like the past 10 years. So it's like a lot of games are putting out competition, and that's what they're competing against. You're basically an infant trying to fight Mike Tyson. Like prime Mike Tyson, not Jake Paul Mike Tyson from yesterday. But you're an infant trying to fight Mike Tyson. That's not gonna work out, gang. Y'all niggas is not winning that fight. Y'all niggas is not winning that fight, gang. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna win that. But also another thing is, like, if you have a budget for one game every year, because most people aren't hardcore gamers. Most people aren't like me buying 10 and 20 and 30 games a year. Most people buy probably 4 or 5 games a year, and out of those 4 or 5 games, not counting microtransactions, because a lot of people drop a lot of money on microtransactions in games, and because of sunken cost fallacy, they don't want to get the fuck off those games. That's why I say a lot of these live service games need to realize you're not going to be Fortnite low, bro. Niggas have been playing and spending money on Fortnite for the last 5 years. What the fuck makes you think that somebody's gonna get off of a game that they've been spending money on for the last 5 years? Niggas, there's legit average regular people that don't make crazy amounts of money. They make a regular $15 an hour, 40 hours a week type of job, have $1,000 on their Fortnite account. So if normal people got those type of numbers on their Fortnite account, and a lot of the fan base, even if you got $100 on your Fortnite account, this is a free game. $100 niggas sunk in $100 on a free game that still requires skill to be played and gives you a plethora of content for free that basically is a game engine. So there's games inside of this game at this point. What makes you think that they're gonna get off of that live service game that they already sunk money and time into to get onto yours, if yours just feels like another game that they've already played? They're not. That's another reason why I keep saying a lot of these larger games are failing, because it feels like something we've already played. Then we look into the gameplay systems and go, wait a minute, I already played this 3 years ago. They're not getting on for Fortnite to play your bullshit. They're not. I'm sorry, they're not. Then on top of that, y'all want to add all types of annoying ass dailies. Then y'all want to lock half the game behind a damn paywall. It's like, yo, why are you making a free game and then locking the gameplay behind a paywall? And not in a World of Warcraft type of way where like they have a reputation for doing this over the last 20 years, A, and B, they're making full expansions. That's like, some of those expansions aren't good from my knowledge, but a lot of those expansions are adding on new worlds to the gameplay, new storylines, new lore. Y'all not locking features of that level behind a paywall that deserve to be behind a paywall. Y'all locking basic features like multiverses, for example, and like they recently unlocked it, but the way they did it, they're still basically locked behind a paywall. They made it so that one of the most integral things in a fighting game, the diverse play styles that you can enact using different characters, are locked behind a paywall, thusly making the game pay to win. It's like, yo, bro, why would I want to play this? Why? Like I said in my review, I'm not going to stop saying it. Multiverse's #1 mistake was making an IP-based fighting game where you can't play as your favorite IP. Who wants to get on a cartoon fighting game that wants to play as Batman, play as LeBron for the next 4 hours? Why would I want to hop on a game that got Jason in it and I want to play Jason? Now I got to play Banana Garden Nubia, which Nubia is a cool character, but the average person doesn't know who Nubia is. I want to play Powerpuff Girls. Why I got to play as Shaggy for the next 40 hours? No, niggas is not doing that. That's homework. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with having to unlock the characters, but if unlocking the characters is me I don't have anything if unlocking the characters is me having to open up my phone, go into, where is it? Where the fuck is Google Pay? I don't use that shit, but where is it so I can make my little jokey? Find devices. Just pretend I'm tapping into Google, but just pretend I have to open up my phone, go into Google Pay, go into Apple Pay, go to unlock a character. And for every character, I have to do that individually. Who thinks that's fun? And then on top of that, after I do that, I gotta pay to have a decent experience in the story mode. I gotta pay to beat the story mode too. I'm not buying the story mode. I could play the story mode, but in order to be able to actually beat it, I have to pay. It's like, dog. And like, Multiverse is just my favorite example to stomp on, but there's other games that engage in similar practices. So it's like, yo, y'all nickel and diamond everybody, and y'all wondering why nobody wants to play your stuff. The average person can't afford to buy more than 4 games a year, if that much. And most likely, those 4 games a year are probably 2K, Call of Duty, whatever is the latest non Call of Duty 2K game is to buy for the year. So maybe a Sparking Zero or Wukong, and then Sparking Zero has Dragon Ball, so they're exempt from all that shit, and they're bringing back a fighting series that hasn't had an entry in like forever. So, you know, there's that appeal, and Wukong is different from Call of Duty and has had a lot of people gassing it. So there's that, and it may be like a FIFA, a Madden, or something like that. Like, a lot of these studios are fighting an uphill battle that they think because they slap a popular name on it is no longer an uphill battle. Like, they think if they make a fighting game, they're fighting like this. But they think if they name it Street Fighter, magically they'll be fighting like this. No, nigga, y'all did that with Street Fighter 5. What happened? Y'all did that with Mortal Kombat 1. What happened? Those games on release, people hated it. People still hate Street Fighter 5. But you know, since Street Fighter 6 is new, we got some of the people in the community doing what the usual game release cycle is. Oh man, we got a new game, so cool. Oh man, we got a new game. The old game was better, even though the whole lifetime of that game I complained it sucked. But with Street Fighter 5 on the other hand, that game legitimately has some systems that were like, all right, buddy, that just takes a skill out of the game. But yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about this topic. I'm gonna definitely save this because I'm gonna send this to myself and read it while I'm riding on a train or something like that. But oh yeah, this is copy. I'm riding on a trend like that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the subject. Go ahead, feel free to disagree with me in the comments or whatnot. But something I do agree with, and that you'll probably agree with in the comments if you have seen anything related to this topic, is Senator to Valve. What's with all the Nazis on Steam? Now, for those of y'all who don't know, Steam is very friendly to indie developers that want to publish their own games, right? If you are like the dude that made Lethal Company, you're one dude in your basement and you make a game, you want to put it out there for many people to play, enjoy, and experience, it's pretty simple to do with platforms such as Steam. One good side to that is it gives more